Blue strobe lights flickered across the dunes like artificial lightning, the kind that makes your stomach tighten even before you know what's wrong. A DJ was screaming, "Drop the bass." Not that he needed to, because the speakers were so massive, the sand itself was vibrating under my feet. Right in the middle of this chaos, a bulldozer sat idling, tracks grinding on my protected sea oats, and an inflatable flamingo the size of a van drifted dangerously close to a roped-off turtle nesting site. You ever have one of those moments where you think, no way is this happening? Yeah, that was me, right then. There had to be 200 people dancing, drinks sloshing, trampling through plants it took 3 years to get growing. Plants meant to keep the dune together, not host a foam party. And in the eye of the storm was Sandra Strong, HOA president, rhinestone tiara, beauty queen sash, grabbing a megaphone and shouting over the music, "Turn the protected area into VIP seating, move those ugly ropes." I barely had time to process it before 2 state wildlife officers stepped out of the shadows, calm as ghosts who'd been watching it all. At that moment, I knew justice was about to walk in wearing mirrored aviators. My name's Jonah Pike. I own a skinny strip of beach and the dunes behind it, just outside Coral Key, Florida, passed down from my granddad who snagged it in '62, back when you could buy waterfront land without mortgaging your soul. He taught me 2 things that matter: respect the tides and keep your paperwork tight. Turns out, both are survival skills. I've kept the place exactly how he wanted. Natural, quiet, not a vacation brochure. There's a sun-faded blue cottage, a rickety boardwalk of recycled plastic, a hand-carved sign, private shore nesting area. I've got more permits and conservation easements than some county offices. All of it to keep this sliver of sand safe. 3 blocks away sits Pelican Palms, a gated community with fountains, palm trees manicured within an inch of their lives, and a president named Valerie Cranston. She's the type who thinks public access means wherever she wants to set up her cocktail bar or drag a pergola, and her HOA is her personal fiefdom. Valerie loves nothing more than coastal unity and organizing wine nights where the main event is weaponizing next door against anyone whose mailbox isn't coastal gray. The first time she showed up at my door, she brought muffins and an easement proposal to give her HOA access to my entire beachfront. I gave her back the basket and the agreement, nice and polite. She never forgave me. Her first shot was a pink ribbon notice zip-tied to my gate. Pelican Palms intends to host its annual beach Glow Bash. Please remove your rope lines and vegetation markers for community cohesion and aesthetic unity. You can't make this stuff up. I sent back copies of my deed, survey maps, and the local law, plus a pamphlet on sea turtle nesting for good measure. Valerie replied with HOA fines, even though I never joined and her jurisdiction ends a football field away. She said my sand aesthetic clashed with their vision and threatened legal action, starting at $50 per day. She sent Brenda, her architectural review chair, to measure my sea oats like it was the IRS auditing a lemonade stand. Brenda apologized, said she'd get fined too if she didn't comply. The rumor mill was next. Valerie told neighbors I was blocking traditional beach paths, which were really protected turtle corridors. She posted on Facebook that I was hoarding shoreline from families, using photos of my menacing private property sign snapped from the world's lowest angle. She even accused me of being elitist for not allowing glass bottles, conveniently ignoring that baby turtles and broken glass don't mix. A week later, a rental truck shows up, 300 LED wristbands, a lighting rig, and 2 industrial foam cannons, like I'd ordered a rave. The delivery guys hand me a permit on HOA letterhead, complete with an eagle clip art and provisional coastal authorization in Comic Sans. That's when I went full paperwork ninja, emailed the county, the state, Fish and Wildlife, the whole alphabet. Attached every screenshot, every GPS coordinate. Reminded them, turtle season runs through October, and what Valerie was planning was illegal 6 different ways. Then I waited. Glow Bash night arrived like a weird military op. Valerie's army snuck onto the beach through the public access, muscled a fence across my boardwalk, and somehow managed to get a bulldozer onto the dune. I still have no clue why you'd need heavy equipment for a party. At 9:12, fireworks started popping over the water. At 9:14, A sheriff's cruiser rolled up. Valerie strutted over, waving her laminated permit and a check, trying to buy goodwill. The deputy looked at her, looked at the check, and told her to wait. Suddenly, someone fired up the foam cannons. Strawberry-scented bubbles poured down the dune, covering the turtle nest, making my protected sand smell like nightclub air freshener. People danced and took selfies, treating wildlife habitat like it was a Miami pool party. Right on cue, a fish and wildlife truck bounced onto the sand. 2 officers showed up, clipboards, cameras, the vibe of people who'd seen this mess before and weren't impressed. Valerie tried to sell them on her community revitalization routine, but the officer just said, "Ma'am, you're committing 3 misdemeanors and flirting with a felony. Turn off the music." I had every receipt, trail cam shots of trespassers, texts where Valerie bragged about reclaiming the beach, drone footage of the bulldozer like a yellow confession. The deputy started taking statements. The DJ tried to invoke maritime law. No, really. The wildlife. Officer found turtle hatchling tracks flattened under the foam. Valerie pointed at me, yelling for them to arrest me for sand hoarding. Instead, the deputy asked for my documents. I handed him a waterproof folder with everything labeled. The officers collected foam samples, photographed the forged permit, and the county clerk emailed. Valerie's coastal authorization was a total fake, edited from an old PDF and Comic Sans into infamy. The deputy asked, "Mr. Pike, do you want to press charges for trespass and property damage?" I said yes, with the quiet satisfaction of a guy who alphabetizes his receipts. After that, it was like watching dominoes fall in slow motion. Investigators traced every dollar. Valerie had blown HOA funds on DJs, fireworks, open bars. Even the bulldozer, all logged as emergency erosion control. Turns out, she'd been siphoning HOA dues for months, paying for coastal research, vacations, patio furniture, and even a hot tub, all under fake account names. The state filed charges: trespass, harassment of wildlife, forgery, grand theft. The HOA sued for breach of fiduciary duty. At the hearing, the courtroom was packed, furious residents, reporters, the works. Valerie showed up in a cream suit and gold sunglasses, calling herself a volunteer park ranger, and claiming she was saving the community from coastal access inequality. My attorney, Patricia Chun, sharper than a sand spur, played the video. Valerie, tiara flashing, ordering workers to move VIP ropes around the turtle nest, yelling at the bulldozer to make it level, coaching her nephew to move my boundary markers. You could hear the foam cannon whirring in the background, hear Valerie shouting, "We have provisional coastal vibes, people. This is about community." The judge pinched the bridge of his nose so hard I thought he'd break his glasses. The verdict hit like a thunderclap. Valerie ordered to pay $42,000 for restoring the dunes, $68,000 in state fines, banned from any event on or near the beach without environmental permits. Then came the criminal charges. The room went silent. She was remanded. Pending trial, felony forgery, wildlife harassment, grand theft. As the bailiff snapped on the cuffs, Valerie asked, "Do these come in rose gold?" "Because I have a nickel allergy." The bailiff just stared. The whole place burst out laughing. Valerie was led away, tiara crooked, sunglasses falling off, still insisting the community would thank her when they understood her vision. Later, the prosecutor told me, "Valerie's looking at serious time, at least 18 months, with a healthy dose of mandatory community service, protecting the same turtles she put in danger." Watching her face as the truth finally landed was a moment I'll never forget. Mouth open, eyes wide, not a single excuse left. Funny thing is, as wild as this all was, I'd do it again. Because justice might move slow, but when it comes, it's worth every late night and every ounce of patience. So what do you think? Was I right to stand my ground? Or should the beach be for everyone, no matter what the law says? Drop your thoughts below. I want to hear your stories about community drama and justice served.